Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight. All right, so today let's talk about, it's going to start with cultural appropriation, which we've already covered several times. But the idea that I want to cover here is, why is it okay to steal from Christianity,
but none of the others?
but it's not okay to steal from Islam or, Buddhism or whatever else.
Or the internet would have a meltdown if I suddenly came out and did a Native American ritual.
Right.
And my connection to Native Americans next to zilch.
Right. So why is it okay for us as pagans to steal from Christianity?
But nobody else.
And change it into something that we use in our practice.
First of all, in the more traditional settings, we don't believe in this. We believe we have access to all religions because technically we have access to all deities.
Right.
So we can sit down and talk to those deities directly. There's no harm in reading the Bible.
Mm-mm.
And you know what I'm saying? There's
right.
I listen to Christian people all the time and some of their philosophies, and some of them are good, some of them ain't. But it doesn't change the core of my belief system.
Okay.
All right. We seem to have this problem in the pagan community. Everybody wants to study everything, but when you go to do it, if you've done pissed off somebody, suddenly it becomes a cultural appropriation, or you shouldn't be doing that. How dare you? The whole 9 yards. And it seems to be a standard for everybody else except for Christians.
All right? Yeah, but why is that?
No, you can't tell bad jokes about Muslims, but you can tell bad jokes about Christians.
But again, why? Why has it come to that? I mean, is it more along the lines of, because we've heard other people say it, well, I've been traumatized by Christianity.
Right.
Or Christianity has kept us down for so many decades, and they were the cause of the witch trials and this and that, and, dating back to whatever else. And I'm like, how does that affect us today?
Well,
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Now, if you've got your personal traumas, I can't help you with that.
No,
but
can.
Well, you can go see a therapist.
Right.
I mean, you can take medication to help you deal with mental anxieties or whatever. But as far as stuff that's happened in the past, I don't think we can take that and justify.
I don't think that justifies being able to beat up a certain sect of the population. No. Or, because they have control here, or because there's so many of them and blah. Yeah, and what? And I'm still back to, we live in a country of the First Amendment, freedom of religion. Now, again, Christians, yes, they go out, they bash us, they say bad things about us. All right. And again, this is part of their belief system. They believe we're bad. They believe we're doing sin and all this other stuff, and are trying to preach against it.
Right.
They can believe what in the world they want. They can even say what in the world they want. But at no time can they actually stop us.
Well, no, because we have the same rights and freedoms as they do.
Right. I mean, even in those old days where we were forced to go into churches and give lip service, it didn't stop us from being what we were.
No.
So why should this affect us now?
It shouldn't.
Nobody lived through the burning times.
No.
All right. Nobody alive lived through the burning times, and nobody committed the burning times.
No.
All right. I mean, the closest you get to that is when you're going into one of these Muslim countries, we would be dead. Not just because we're gay, but because we're witches. It is illegal in these countries.
I was going to say, yeah, you and I have
Yeah, if they would set us on fire, plus throw us off a building.
Exactly.
To make sure it sticks.
Right.
Those are some gay witches. They might come back.
I got to watch them. They got some juju. Anyway.
I would rather put up with a Christian. At least with them, I can communicate with them, and they're not going to try to kill me right off the bat. They'll at least try to convert me first.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's like, getting mad over the Spanish Inquisition. It affected me how?
Again, it's not anything that we had anything to do with.
And I'm sorry, your personal trauma is not a good enough reason to be able to bash another group.
No, I don't think that gives you a right to do that.
Does that mean it's all right for women who have gotten raped by a certain race to be able to go around and bash everybody because there's trauma?
No.
I mean, this is the same logic. Am I wrong with that? Christianity gave me trauma, so therefore I get to beat up on them.
Well, no, but that's what we're saying. It doesn't give you that right.
No.
To be able to do that.
No, and I believe it's a little lowbrow.
I think so. I mean, you can't. It's the same as blaming, like you were saying. It's the same as blaming an entire race of people for something that one person did.
Right.
How do you even justify that?
I mean, this is the same logic of, and this is going to sound stupid, of being in a car wreck and being hit by a Nissan. So therefore, you're never going to buy You're never going to buy Nissans.
Yes, perfect
to solve
example.
The problem.
Perfect example. Yeah.
This is the same logic. It don't make no sense.
No, that's why I'm wondering how does someone justify that?
Well,
what thought process goes through their head? I can't even imagine.
Well, I mean, that's like the same process of the following, and I might change my mind on this. There's a lot of people in the pagan community who want to get rid of the Second Amendment.
Okay.
But yet we have access to magic. We have access to actual power that can be used as a fucking weapon.
Mm-hmm.
In the same logic that we use for magic, that magic is neither good nor bad. It is the intent. It's the same thing. It's the same argument about guns.
Right.
So if you're going to argue about getting rid of guns, you need to start arguing about getting rid of magic.
Yeah, and how are you going to do that?
And how in the hell are you going to do that shit?
I know.
It's the same logic. And again, don't even get me started on the whole entire, burning times?
Yeah.
How was the burning times able to start? They took the weapons away first. Women and lower class people were not allowed to defend themselves anymore. But yeah, we're going to go bash because of a perceived slight.
Right.
All right. And again, I'm back to, if it was a personal thing, I think it's those individuals, not the religion. I mean, because again, we got bad people in our religion too.
Oh, sure we do.
And they do bad things and con people.
They're in every religion.
Right. You know, and trust me, I've heard more than one tale of pagans that have put situations where they've coerced people to have sex with them. Not necessarily rape, but hey, to learn this class or to get your initiation, hey.
Well, I mean, that shit happens in other religions too.
Exactly. So, what are y'all doing?
I had my fair share of personal trauma dealing with a handful of Christians, but I don't blame Christianity for that.
No.
And I don't go around bashing other Christians just because of what a handful of people did. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to the religion.
I completely agree with you.
You know,
I have met some old Christian ladies. I've sat there and they knew I was gay and the whole nine yards. They're like, no, I don't like you being gay, but you're going to sit down. You're going to eat that damn chicken right now because you got to.
Right.
Some of these older women actually follow the word of God where they treat you like real Christians are supposed to treat you.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're going to ignore that and only concentrate on all our perceived bad.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this makes these people look like to you that sit there and do this?
Hypocrites.
Well, hypocrites, I don't know. I don't want to say lowbrow or something like that. It's just, it doesn't seem very spiritual.
Right.
It doesn't seem very inclusive. It doesn't seem all this stuff that they claim. And that's what drives me up the wall about this.
Yeah, I mean, we are supposed to be, for lack of a better word, we're supposed to be forgiving people. You know, I mean,
go figure.
Live and let live, right?
I'm sorry, I've never had a Christian I've never had, the local church has yet to come down with the pitchforks.
Right.
All right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Have bad things happened to witches over the years? Yes. Have they happened in America? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been some bad things that have happened in there? And we need to be aware of those because there are bad people in the world.
Yes.
There's bad people, not bad religions, just bad people.
Exactly.
So what was that? You gotta save us from your followers? That's all I gotta say.
All right.
All right.
so let's talk about fat phobia.
Okay.
This goes along with what we were just talking about not too long ago.
Right.
There was a Blue Sage had a video where he was talking about black lint, and we made a comment.
Because we were going,
she was doing
the 7 deadly sins, and we were making a joke about one of them.
Right, sloth,
in which all I said was just look at her.
Right,
and everybody thought I was being fat phobic.
Right, they automatically took that as fat phobia. You can't do that. And...
Do you want me to say what I didn't want you to have to type?
Sure.
Oh, it's the same goth haircut. It's the same dumb goth makeup. It's the same goth. Oh, here, I'm going to show my titties because really over half of my audience really don't listen with the volume on. Same tired trope stuff.
Right. I mean, she really made no effort to be a standout.
And even the ritual itself was unoriginal. It sounded like something that came from a daycare classroom thing for, oh, we're going to do summer or whatever.
Right.
There was no actual, it was just it was just the middle finger up to the Christians because, well, we could do it. But we're here to talk about fat phobia.
Right.
So, knowing that there are people out there with problems,
right,
medical problems that keep them from losing weight and blah, 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 right? In which they struggle with their weight. They work with their doctors. They do what they're supposed to do. All right. And I know they don't always get it. Just like, me being an older man myself, like you get hurt and stuff like that. And you can't move around like you did when you were younger. And sometimes the weight piles on. Don't have a problem with this.
Right.
I'm sorry. Me and you have both worked in hospitals. I've worked in housekeeping, and we've had to help in housekeeping. One of our jobs was to help roll over these 800-pound people so the nurses could take care of them.
Right.
Because they have eaten themselves to death. I'm sorry. You want me to pray? People want to praise being fat. Well, no, you shouldn't be ashamed of your body, right? But I'm sorry, overeating's just as bad as undereating. All we were hunting, I think, in our society was that middle of the road thing.
Right.
And now you got to be 300 pounds to be sexy.
Well, I mean, for me, I've always struggled with my weight.
Right.
I've never been thin. I've never been extremely fat, but I'm obese, and my doctor tells me I'm fat. And, I step on the scales, and I've got some pretty good weight on me, especially for a short guy.
Well, no, I can't say anything. I mean, when I was younger and I worked out all the time, I'd go to the doctor. They go, well, you're overweight, but I had very little body fat at the time.
Right, but that's different. So, I've got a good bit of body fat. So,
but do you see what I'm saying? Is I see doctors do this on either end of the scale.
Oh, sure they do. Yeah.
If you don't meet this number, you're overweight. Blah blah blah.
Right, but that's not my point. That's where I was going with that. Point is I've got some weight on me. I am not fat phobic. If I was fat phobic, that would be such an oxymoron.
Well, considering I'm married to you,
right?
But again, I have this problem with everybody using the word phobia.
Right.
All right, because a phobia
is a fear.
Is an irrational fear.
Right.
Even those people, Lady Keegan talk about it. She has some phobias like that, and she knows when she's going through it, it's irrational. She knows she doesn't have to be.
Right.
But she can't stop herself.
No, she can't.
There's a difference there. A phobia is something you can't stop. Yes, if you saw a fat person, yes, you would run. That person would run screaming from the room because, God forbid. I mean, this is like being agoraphobic or
right,
or anything like that. Now, we're not using the words properly here.
No. Right? No. When people are saying, "Well, that's fat phobic," or
no, we should not necessarily shame people. You should feel bad, blah blah blah, to the point to where you're depressed, wanting to do things to yourself.
Right. That's not the purpose of that.
That's not. No. Again, it's that. Like I said, I realize when you get older, it's hard to get up and move and to get those off, but you start to cut back on your eating too.
Which doesn't work for me, but
I hate to say it. It happens when you get older, but I can't sit there and get on board on this when I can go out on YouTube or TikTok or somewhere like that and watch a 16-year-old girl for 20 minutes, 20 solid minutes, sit there and videotape herself shoving food in her mouth.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, they're what are they? Foodies?
Foodies, yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, that's gluttony. That y'all need to set the fork down. You need to step away from.
Right.
I have sympathy for those who can't control their weight and need help, and who have psychological problems and stuff like that, the bulimics and the overeaters and the whole 9 yards, because it's all technically the same thing.
Right.
Mentally. This is what we need to be working on. This is what we need to be. All right? No, nobody should be shamed because they're got an extra 20 pounds or whatever. You with me?
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, I realize there are people out there that are quite chunky and they're going to continue. But I also know there's stuff in our foods in the United States that probably prevent us from losing more of that weight.
Yeah, I believe that too, because you look at other countries and they don't have the same weight problems we do in the U.S.
You look at other places where they're eating closer to raw, more natural foods, and not all this processed stuff we do.
Right, they're eating more of the quote unquote organic stuff,
or stuff from scratch.
Right, it's stuff with lower chemicals and
right. So I'm thinking a lot of our problems, weight problems in the United States, is the chemicals in the food, not necessarily the food itself.
Right. Which is yet another issue that needs to be addressed.
Exactly.
That never will be.
That will never be, because God forbid we give up sugar and all this other stuff for more healthy alternatives and quit using manufactured sugars and sweeteners.
Right.
So that's all I have to say about fat phobia is y'all have lost y'all's freaking minds.
Well, and if you wanna see what chemicals will actually do to your food, look up the Coffee Mate stuff where they're pouring it out and setting it on fire and it lights up like nobody's business. Put that in your body.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't go around shaming people. You know what
I'm
saying?
No, we shouldn't.
To a certain extent. No, we shouldn't. We should encourage people to try to lose weight. No, if you...
Right, and try to be healthier.
Right. And again, we're talking like these people that go to the gym that are overweight and stuff like that, and you got those other people there. If you got people making fun of you, somebody needs to stand up and say, no, stop. At least they're here.
Right.
You keep on going. You keep on doing. You'll be fine.
Right.
I'm here for you. But now I keep on hearing people do that. I mean, I made this phrase, and how much you want to bet we're going to hear all sorts of, oh, that is just so mean. That's so ableist. That's just so this. That's so. I'm talking from a point of view of someone who has physical problems.
Right.
A 20-minute walk or whatever. Do something. Be active.
Right.
Quit shoving this food in your face. Try to do more from scratch. See what happens.
Right. And I mean, you don't have to, it's not like you have to spend freaking 4 hours at the gym every day.
Well, see, I keep on thinking
to try and be healthy.
I keep on thinking about stuff like this. I keep on telling people I'm dyslexic and I'm also it's now what, ADHD, blah, 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 letter.
I don't know.
For hyperactivity now.
Something like that, yeah.
All right. When I was growing up, this was controlled through my diet.
Right.
Not through a pill.
Right.
Because technically hyperactivity to a certain extent is a food allergy.
Mm-hmm.
So if it will affect me and my behavior that way, what else will it do? These are literally our building blocks.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
All right. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, the maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning.